In 1956, in a small military cantonment in Punjab, India, a boy was born who would one day reshape the entire technology landscape of America. His name was Vinod Khosla. His father was an army officer. His mother was a homemaker. They lived a modest life, like millions of other Indian families. But inside young Vinod's mind, extraordinary dreams were taking shape. At age 14, Vinod read a book that changed everything. Crystal Fire, the story of how the transistor was invented. As he turned each page, something ignited inside him. I will create a technology revolution too, he whispered to himself. But in 1970s India, this seemed like an impossible dream. Technology meant government factories and bureaucratic jobs. Entrepreneurship was virtually unknown. Starting a company? That was something only Americans did. But Vinod was different. He enrolled at IIT Delhi, India's most prestigious engineering school. While his classmates dreamed of secure government jobs, Vinod had bigger plans. He wasn't just studying engineering. He was preparing for war, a war against the impossible. When he graduated in 1976, his family expected him to follow the traditional path. Get a good job, marry a nice girl, live a safe, predictable life. Instead, Vinod made an announcement that shocked everyone. I'm going to America. His parents thought he had lost his mind. The family's entire savings could barely cover a plane ticket. Vinod would arrive in America with just $50 in his pocket. I'm going to build a technology empire, he told his father, the disciplined army general. His father shook his head in disbelief. But Vinod had already made up his mind. On a cold February morning in 1976, Vinod stepped off a plane at JFK Airport. He had never seen snow before. He had never been away from his family. He didn't know a single person in this vast, strange country, but he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He was going to make it. Vinod enrolled at Carnegie Mellon University for his master's degree. During the day, he attended classes and absorbed everything about computer science. At night, he washed dishes at local restaurants to pay for food and rent. His hands were raw from the hot water and harsh detergents, but his spirit remained unbroken. Every night, as he walked back to his tiny apartment, Vinod would look up at the stars. This is just the beginning, he would tell himself. After completing his master's, Vinod made another bold decision. He would get an MBA from Stanford University. Stanford wasn't just any business school. It was in the heart of Silicon Valley, where technology dreams came to life. At Stanford, Vinod met three other students who shared his vision. Andy Bechtolsheim, a brilliant German engineer; Scott McNeely, a charismatic American with natural leadership skills; Bill Joy, a coding genius who could make computers dance. Together, they formed an unlikely team, four young men from different corners of the world, united by one impossible dream. They wanted to build computers that would change everything. In 1982, they gathered in a small garage in Palo Alto. It was the same neighborhood where HP and Apple had started. But success was far from guaranteed. They had a business plan, $20,000, and infinite ambition. Nothing else. They named their company Sun Microsystems. Sun stood for Stanford University Network. But to Vinod, it represented something much more profound. It was the dawn of a new era. The first months were brutal. Nobody wanted to buy their computers. Investors thought they were crazy. Why would anyone need a workstation this powerful? They asked. The four founders worked 18-hour days. They slept on couches in the office. They survived on pizza and instant coffee. Vinod's job was to find customers and raise money. Day after day, he faced rejection. We're not interested. This will never work. You're too young, too inexperienced. But every no only made Vinod more determined. He had come too far to give up now. Then came the breakthrough moment. In late 1982, Vinod pitched to a small engineering company in Boston. They needed powerful computers for complex calculations. Sun's workstation was exactly what they had been looking for. The deal was worth $50,000. It wasn't much, but it proved something crucial. There was a market for their vision. Word spread quickly through the engineering community. Sun's computers weren't just powerful, they were revolutionary. By 1983, Sun was selling millions of dollars worth of workstations. Major corporations like Boeing and NASA became customers. The company that started in a garage was becoming a technology giant. Vinod's role evolved from founder to chief executive officer. He was barely 27 years old, but he had the wisdom of someone twice his age. Under Vinod's leadership, Sun grew at an unprecedented pace. They went public in 1986, just 4 years after starting. The IPO raised hundreds of millions of dollars. Vinod, the boy who had arrived in America with $50, was now worth hundreds of millions. But money was never the real goal. Vinod wanted to change the world. And he was just getting started. By the late 1980s, Sun Microsystems had become one of America's most valuable technology companies. They employed thousands of people. Their computers powered the internet revolution. Without Sun's innovations, there would be no Google, no Amazon, no Facebook. But Vinod was restless. He had proven that an immigrant could build a technology empire. Now he wanted to help others do the same. In 1986, Vinod made another shocking decision. He left Sun Microsystems to become a venture capitalist. His friends thought he was crazy. "You're walking away from billions of dollars," they said. But Vinod saw a bigger opportunity. He could help hundreds of entrepreneurs realize their dreams. He joined Kleiner Perkins, the most prestigious venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. Suddenly, Vinod was on the other side of the table. He was the one with the money and power. But he never forgot what it felt like to be a hungry entrepreneur. Vinod's first major investment was in a small software company called Juniper Networks. The founders were young, ambitious, and reminded Vinod of his younger self. Most investors thought networking equipment was boring. Vinod saw the future. As the internet exploded in the 1990s, Juniper's routers became essential infrastructure. The company went public and made Vinod's fund billions of dollars. But that was just the beginning. Vinod invested in companies that would reshape entire industries. Amazon, when it was still selling books from a garage. Google, when it was just a Stanford research project. Netscape, which created the first popular web browser. Each investment reflected Vinod's ability to see the future before anyone else. By the 2000s, Vinod had become one of the most powerful people in Silicon Valley. Entrepreneurs flew from around the world just for a meeting with him. His endorsement could make or break a startup, but Vinod remained surprisingly humble. He remembered the dishwasher who had arrived from India decades earlier. In 2004, Vinod started his own venture capital firm, Khosla Ventures. He wanted complete freedom to invest in the most ambitious ideas: clean energy, artificial intelligence, biotechnology. While other investors played it safe, Vinod bet on the impossible. His portfolio included companies working on solar power, artificial meat, and carbon capture. "I want to invest in entrepreneurs who are trying to change the world," Vinod often said. Many of his bets seemed crazy at first. But Vinod had learned something important over the decades. Today's impossibility is tomorrow's breakthrough. The boy from Punjab who once dreamed of creating technology revolutions, had done something even better. He had created an entire ecosystem of innovation, hundreds of companies, thousands of entrepreneurs, millions of jobs. And it all started with a 14-year-old boy reading a book about transistors. Today, Vinod Khosla is worth over $5 billion. His companies have created trillions of dollars in value. But ask him about his greatest achievement, and he'll tell you something surprising. I proved that anyone, from anywhere, can change the world. He proved that dreams have no nationality, that innovation knows no borders, that courage is the only currency that truly matters. From a small village in Punjab to the pinnacle of Silicon Valley, Vinod Khosla's journey is more than a success story. It's proof that the American dream is alive and well, and it's waiting for the next dreamer, brave enough to pursue it. The next time you use the internet, remember this story. Remember the dishwasher who became a kingmaker. Remember the immigrant who built an empire. Remember that your dreams, no matter how impossible they seem, might just be the next revolution waiting to happen. Because if a boy from rural India can reshape Silicon Valley, imagine what you can do. Your journey starts with a single decision. The decision to believe in yourself. The decision to take that first impossible step. The decision to never, ever give up. Just like Vinod Khosla did all those years ago.